Hi there. Let's talk about reincarnation naturalized. I'm Eric Steinhardt. You can learn more about me at www.ericsteinhardt.com. We're going to talk about naturalizing Plotinus, particularly his theory of reincarnation. It's not consistent with modern science, so how can we make it consistent with science? How can we modernize it and naturalize it? Let's start with the Stoics, with the Stoic Multiverse. The Stoics taught the doctrine of the eternal recurrence. Every universe is preceded and followed by an exact copy of itself. And this two-way infinite series of universes is the Stoic Multiverse. Well, what about our universe? It starts with a big bang. Some stuff happens. There's the Milky Way galaxy. There's our solar system. There's the planet Earth. And then here's a human life, wow, from long ago, man's life. And here's a woman's life from birth to old age in the grave, cradle to the grave. And our universe then is going to end up, everything's going to be sucked into black holes. That's it. That's the end of our universe. But it starts over again. It repeats with a big bang. Some stuff happens. The Milky Way. There's our solar system. The Earth again. And this person lives their exact same life in the exact same way again. And so does she. And then everything gets devoured by the black holes. And that's it, the end. It's going to repeat again, right? The cosmic cycle. If you start with a universe there, simplified form, symbolized with a circle with just a cross in it to indicate some complexity inside that universe, it produces another universe exactly the same, produces another universe exactly the same, and so it goes. This is the Stoic cosmic cycle. You live your life again, it repeats exactly the same, it repeats again. And it's just an endless cycle of sameness, right? The Stoic multiverse is just recurrence, endless sameness. What about the Plotinian multiverse? It's a little different. Plotinus also has a multiverse with two universes. He talks about the higher universe and the lower universe. In his view, the higher universe is first, it's earlier, it's original, it's more complex and more valuable than the lower and later universe. The later universe, our universe, the lower universe is a copy. It fell down from the original universe. It's a copy, it's less complex, it's less valuable, right? A lot of the original complexity got smeared out by distortion and noise as it fell. But we know that this can't quite be the truth. As evolution shows us, as time goes on, complexity increases. And so we should apply this lesson to the Plotinian multiverse. We're going to invert the Plotinian order. The lower universe is the earlier original and the higher universe is the later copy. And so copies are more valuable than their originals. That's an inversion of the Platonic and Plotinian scheme, right? Evolution teaches us that as copies make copies make copies, mutations appear, they get selected, and increase in fitness and increase in complexity. So there's a biological analogy here. And so the higher universe is later. We start with a lower and earlier universe. There's the Earth, E1, the Sun, S1, and that's the parent universe, less complex, less valuable, and it produces an offspring universe that's more complex and more valuable with an Earth, E2, that came from E1, and a Sun, S2, that derives from the Sun, S1. Let's generalize this, not just one universe making one offspring, but every universe begets many offspring, and not just one cycle of cosmic reproduction, but endlessly many generations of self-reproducing universes. How does it start? Well, Plotinus is going to start with a simple thing, right? The one. So we'll start with a simple empty universe, and that produces its offspring. They have a little more internal complexity. They produce their offspring, a bit more internal complexity, and they produce their offspring, more complexity. And this process just keeps going to infinity, but we'll stop right there. Suppose we focus on one path in this tree, right, from the simple original one to some complex universe. Well, it's an evolutionary path. We have the simple empty one there on the left, and there's a little complexity signified by the cross in the first universe. It gains even more complexity, right? It inherits the complexity from its parent universe, and it elaborates, becomes more complex. And then its offspring universe will inherit some of that complexity and elaborate it, right? And further elaboration yields an even more complex universe, the fourth universe with content in this series. We have counterparts, right, as these universes beget universes. So if we start with the lower and earlier universe, there's the Sun, S1. It's got a future counterpart, S2, the second Sun in the higher and later universe, which is derived from the earlier universe. Same with that Earth, E1. It has a future counterpart, E2, in the higher and later universe. So what does Plotinus say? So earlier things are surpassed by their later and greater future counterparts. And here's exactly what Plotinus says. Everything here must exist there, where there is now going to be the later universe. The sky there must be living and therefore not bare of stars. Earth too will be there, and not void, but even more intensely living and containing all that lives and moves upon our earth, and the plants obviously rooted in life. Sea will be there, and all the waters with the movement of their unending life, and all the living things of the water. Air too must be there, along with all the living things of air as here. The content of that higher universe must surely be alive, as in this lower universe, and all that lives must of necessity be there. In that higher universe there can be no indigence or impotence, but all must be teeming, seething with life, boiling with life. So Plotinus also says, and for a sun figuring in that higher universe, if it is to be more splendid than the sun visible to us, what a sun it must be. So our sun is surpassed by a later and greater sun in the future universe, and our earth is surpassed by a later and greater earth in that future universe. The same thing happens to your life. So let's paraphrase Plotinus. And for your life in the higher universe, if it is to be more splendid than your present life, what a life it must be. So you get upgraded, right? There's your life signified by the little sad guy in universe alpha, and gets upgraded to the happier person in universe delta, upgraded to the even happier person in universe epsilon. Now we don't have to be utilitarians about this. The little stick figures there are just for the sake of illustration, right? What gets upgraded is value, that is complexity, beauty, functional excellence, arete, as the ancients would have said. We can apply this, of course, to many people who live together in universes, and lives get surpassed by lives. There's Pyrrha and Deucalion, right? And their lives are very poor in universe alpha. In universe beta, well, Deucalion gets a little better, but Pyrrha, her life still isn't that great. Universe alpha, they both have middling lives that are pretty decent but not so great. And if we look at what happens from gamma, it produces its offspring, and well, okay, in Delta we've got Deucalion's life is about the same, but Pyrrha's life now is a lot better. And in Universe Epsilon, both of their lives have been improved so that they flourish more. They have greater functional excellence, greater existential beauty, greater complexity and intrinsic value. And so this is the lesson here. Every life in any universe is surpassed in every possible way by improved lives and improved universes. This is the beginning of thinking about Plotinian reincarnation naturalized. And to avoid confusion with reincarnation, let's call it rebirth. There weren't really any souls involved here, although we can of course talk about the soul as the form of the body, as Aristotle did. But souls aren't, there isn't mind-body dualism here where souls are immaterial substances that travel from body to body. So it's better to call it rebirth. So, I'm Eric Steinhardt, and you can learn more about me at my website. Thank you very much.